for those of you who don't know, it's been going on since September of last year, so it's been a year and a half. Very excited about this project. It's a different Havruta in many different ways, but the main way that you might recognize is that we covered the existing case to create another case. So it's like a multi-layer kind of case in that exhibition. For a lot of different reasons, but I think the main reason why is because, as I'm going to let the artist talk about the show, but the inspiration of the format of that case was inspired by the existing case of object placed in shop windows. That's kind of the inspiration behind the idea. But I should introduce Jenny Odell, who's over here. Jenny that's Philip, of course. To give you a little background, I first saw Jenny's work 3 years ago at Intersection for the Arts, which is around the corner over here, where she had an exhibition there, and I've always been thinking about her work, and I was really glad to be working with her. Jenny is has MFA in design from SFAI, and she is also a teacher. She's teaching at Stanford, and she has studied all over in the US, but also in Europe. And a lot of her work was pulled from digital imagery, from the internet imagery of Google Maps, or so more like digital-based practice. But then recently, once she has had a residency at Radiology San Francisco, the SFDUM, her attention got kind of, in a way, switched to manufactured objects and the way that they go from the factory to our houses, and what does that mean, and what's the life of an object, basically. And so once I contacted Jenny to work on this project, she had the idea to collaborate with a designer and window designer, and that's Philip over here. Philip has been designing windows since 20 years. And he's been working at Ken Folk, for those of you who might know that, luxury interior design firm in Soma. And so that collaboration, they're going to talk about it in a minute, but has also different layers. And I think working with them and looking at the case, what's interesting to me is the way that both of them research or like work with objects. It's a very different way. Of course, Jenny, as she's going to tell you, researched everything that there is to know about a specific object. And Philip's role, I guess, is to make the objects look beautiful, to make them desirable in a way for people to buy them. So that's kind of the two different ways that both of them look at objects. I think it's interesting. So I'm going to let you talk about the project itself.
Awesome. Hey. Hi. So I'm just seeing this in person for the first time, so I'm like still totally blown away. I saw it in stages, but this is really amazing for me. It's amazing.
Great, right?
Two things. I'm used to working alone, and I'm also
Me too.
Yeah. And I don't make I don't make things. Like I don't make objects or structures. So like this is like totally blowing me away. But yeah, so as Philip mentioned, I normally, like if you Google me, like you'll find a lot of things like cutouts from Google, satellite imagery, and like a lot of like internet-based projects. And so like still even with this, technically like my work is all on the computer. But one thing that I was trying to capture with the satellite imagery cutouts that I was doing like a couple years ago was like look at infrastructure. So like power, waste, manufacturing, and I was like literally cutting those things out, like cutting out entire factories or cutting out entire airports, and I kind of like ran up against this representational problem, which is that, for instance, if you're cutting out the Athabasca oil sands, like where does that mine end? Like are the cars part of it? Are the roads part of it? Like it's part of this whole other network, so it's not really like, just wasn't really doing it justice. And then that's like around the time that I like got accepted into the ecology thing, so I was thinking about what to do when I was there, and I was thinking about how maybe it's more effective to use an object as a reflection of the network that it passed through, rather than try to actually visually represent that system, that maybe like an object could inflect that stuff rather than trying to be so literal about it. And then the other big inspiration from Recology was the very first time I went into the pile, which this is the pile in this video, which actually this was a tiny pile. So like every day the pile is different, and this is just happened to be very small the day that I was there making this video, but it's kind of good because you can see the other stuff going on. But like my reaction to it was like I wanted to like stop this like process that was happening, which is very much a process when you're in there, like things are being smushed and people are throwing things, and I just wanted to like, I wished that I could just like freeze everything and attend to every single object in this way that I thought that it deserved. So I think that's kind of like where my treatment of these objects came from. And yeah, I encourage you to look through the books. They have pretty much all the information that I could find about each object. It was pretty surreal applying this like method that I had developed over the summer at Recology to things that from my childhood that I had seen for a long time, and then things that I had never seen before and was buying from Walmart. So just like extrapolating that system of research to these different categories. And I have to say that I'm totally amazed with how effective this display is. Like I want them. They're mine. You know, like it makes me want them more. So, oh, and the other thing I wanted to mention is that I used to work for Gap Corporate 3 years ago in the like, I don't know what the name is for that, but like
merchandising?
A staging area. It's like a fake store that's like set in the future. And I would go in and like take photos of like what the store was supposed to look like for like summer, whatever. It'd be like summer in there right now. And my friends were visual merchandisers, so that I would see them like get a box of samples from India and then like fold them like this, and then like suddenly they're very desirable. So when I was at the dump, I was thinking about like what happens when you move this here, like how that object reads totally differently. So I really wanted to work with someone who's good at that, and I'm like really like, happy with that.
Yay!
So can you just clarify, these objects didn't come from the dump, they came from your personal?
No, so that first section over there, those are all, I bought them new.
Okay.
Like from places like Walmart, like on remarkable big box stores. And then the one in the middle, those are things that are from my apartment or that were in my parents' house from like my childhood. So I have like emotional attachments to those. And then these are all from the dump.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So and you know, the way that they're sort of standardized is supposed to make it a little bit easier for you to see and like feel how you would like attach to things and then you detach, kind of like, where you put meaning into them and you take it out.
Great. Thanks.
Yeah, because to follow up on that, because part of the conversation that we were having was also about the values of objects. And so that's why each vitrine has some kind of a different exploration of different values that we put on objects. The first one, as you said, is all new, so they have still that economical value maybe, but in a way, when you look at them outside of that context, what value do they really represent? And then the second one, since they're personal objects that are suspended, that's also the title of the installation, the Bureau of Suspended Objects. Maybe in a way, only the owners of the objects could like have that kind of emotional attachment to them, or like determine their value in a way. But on the other hand, I mean, there are some objects that might resonate with you or like with anyone else for different various reasons. And then the third one, being objects that are all of a sudden not anymore the new, they're not anymore emotionally invested, but they're just trash. They just become all of a sudden completely deprived.
That reminds me, I just wanted to point out one object in here. It's this little like sailor guy, and I put a note on the card, but that's the oldest, I don't know how to word it, that's the oldest object in my memory. Like, in
Your
my
personal
that's-
memory?
Yeah, that's like, yeah. And like to everyone else, it's just like a piece of like ceramic. Yeah. So.
Cool.
And also maybe Jenny, you can touch on that. Part of your thinking and inspiration was from Walter Benjamin.
Oh yeah, yeah. So it's actually in here. The book.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's up there.
It's on the top shelf
Top
on the
shelf.
right, in the middle.
Second.
Oh yeah, right there. So yeah, So I'm a big fan of Walter Benjamin, and I keep coming back to his texts like over and over again and for different projects and different contexts. And in this case, beyond the obvious fact that there's a Walter Benjamin archive, when he died, he was working on the Arcades project, the Arcades are like the precursors to malls in Paris, so they're glass-covered like shopping walkways with like fit displays. And then the other things that he collected, he was never very independently wealthy, but he would collect objects, and he had this obsession with Russian toys. And so he would take photos of Russian toys and he would annotate them on the back. And apparently whenever you would go to his house, he would like put objects in your hands and tell you about them. And he was interested in how images and objects could, when taken out of context, actually betray a lot about certain desires or certain things about a time that are like encoded into that object, not on purpose. So part of what I was trying to do was like empty these, not empty them out, but like take them out of the habitual way of looking at them so that you can actually start to really scrutinize them and see that like all of these very human desires and hopes are part of what's shaping these objects. Yeah.
And did you want to talk a little bit about the aesthetic of your presentation that you designed?
Yeah. When I first saw the case, I was shocked at how long it was and thought we were going to need thousands of objects or something. So we worked on trying to use it, and then I think we finally decided to get rid of it and start over again. Because that's what I do. I just, I'll go somewhere and totally create space. And it was important for me to do that. And we had talked about a cabinet of curiosities, and it's a bureau. So, I mean, really that's it. It was just a simple, kind of wanted to give some weight and importance and age.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the design came from.
Yeah. And like that's something that I never would have tried. Like I would have just tried to work within the case. Like just like doing something else is like beyond the realm of my like thinking.
Yeah.
So,
No, I had to get rid of that case. That was number one for me. For all the things that we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Great. And then maybe last thing about the way you can navigate the exhibition. So each object has a little tag that Jenny hand wrote that just says, what's the object and where it comes from. But then if you want to have more information about the objects, there are 3 books on the shelf over there. And each book is for one vitrine, and you will see a lot of different, very interesting information that you would never think of probably looking at these objects. But you also have 3 QR codes that you can scan with your phone or smart device if you have the QR code app. But it's the same information than in the books, but on a block tumbler.
The nice thing about I know that no one uses QR codes, but it does allow you to take the information with you.
Yep.
So like you can't take the book, but you can take that, and then you can walk. Yeah.
So you can take you cannot
Yeah.
you cannot take these books, but that would be for sale at the store. One version of the 3 books containing the book.
Cool.
So the other advantage to scanning those codes is that because it's online, everything, the text is hyperlinked, so you could like stand in front of something, and then you could like hit a link and see like street view of the factory where that thing was made, like as you're standing there, which is kind of cool. Yeah.
If you're a tour guide, that is uploaded to your live binder as of like an hour ago, so you have that text.
Oh, and then maybe Jenny, can you just say 2 words about the video?
Yeah, this is just kind of like epilogue after we've walked through. So this is obviously the Oakland Port. Right now it's on this shot, but there's another shot where it's just like me on a ferry going, like it's a free tracking shot basically, like going past all the shipping containers. And then this is obviously the public disposal area, so this is where all of the these items came through. And that's just kind of trying to concatenate like this like lifespan. So they hang out here for a while in these shipping containers, and then they ultimately end up here. But both of these are kind of like object purgatory because there's no end until you get to the landfill. Like even this is not, the Recology is not a landfill, it's just a transfer station. So these are like stages where it's kind of just like waiting, it's suspended, and it's waiting to go to like the next stage.
So if you have any questions, Kara?
How did you guys get involved together, and what was the process of working together like?
That was mostly Robin, right?
Yeah, Robin.
Okay.
I've known Robin for maybe 30 years.
Robin is our former registrar.
Yeah.
That's how, yeah.
And then yeah, basically I just told Philip the only real
It was all over email, really.
yeah.
A lot of it in a few meetings.
Yeah, and some drawings.
Yeah.
But I feel like my only thing was I just wanted to have the 3 categories, but I wanted to like leave the rest up to you because like that's your part of it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see how it developed. This was not our original idea, and so it was just fun to see that process
Yeah.
of
there was
working
some-
together and just like.
Oh, also I got to go to the warehouse,
Oh, yeah.
which was amazing.
We did
Yeah.
have a meeting at the warehouse.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the dump, but there's lots of fancy
It was,
stuff.
so I walked in and like it looks like it's just like racks of like totally decontextualized stuff.
Yeah.
That's
so
like that
you
you're
know,
not supposed to see next to each other.
16th century tables and 70s chairs.
And then like some dirty
Just,
heads.
yeah, just like
Yeah.
random stuff. So
It's like all in the jumble.
it's just
yeah.
all a mess over there.
Which is what my studio looked like when I was at the dump. So I'm like very used to that. It's just like shelves of stuff.
It's kind of funny, after doing this and doing what I do, I finally realized that I'm just kind of desensitized to objects and their, like, what they mean. Like someone asked me, well, what would you take out of your house that? I'm like, nothing. I could just start over. You know, it's like, there's so much out there,
Yeah.
you can find stuff.
Well, because
don't.
that's your job is to like
Yeah.
you like give context to
I'm
objects.
surrounded by objects
Yeah.
all day long.
Yeah. But
They're
since-
my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there you left, but you're not like emotionally attached to them.
No,
At all.
I used to be.
You used to be.
Well, because you're
That's
making
it.
other people get emotionally attached to things.
Right.
It's not you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.